Hello, today I will be showing my Beatles collection. Right now in front of you is only one out of like three and like a half shelves. And that's not even including solo, which I'll probably make my own video of because it's just so much stuff. Excuse me. Anyway, let's start with the Beatles' first album, Please Please Me. This is a 1963 UK pressing, but after they changed the labels to the yellow and black parlophone, which is something you don't really see often, at least in America, are the yellow and black parlophone Please Please Me albums. Got the remaster, stereo remaster, I mean. Then we have another Please Please Me stereo. This is a 70s one, but it's super warped. But I only paid like literally $1 for it, so I just thought it was cool to get. We move on to With the Beatles. Here's a 70s stereo pressing. I do not actually have a mono copy of With the Beatles. Just stereo. And we have Beatlemania With the Beatles. This one, I believe, is mono, but it's, it's not the same. There's the label. It's an orange capital label. I think I only have one original Canadian album. Anyway, then we have With the Beatles again, but this one is from Australia. I got it because it has a different picture on the front. We have With the Beatles, but this time from Germany. I'm just gonna say now all of them are reissues unless I say otherwise. Because the British ones, it's like impossible to get originals in America. Speaking of originals, I believe this is an original counterfeit pressing of With the Beatles from Taiwan, I think I want to say. Taiwan. I haven't really listened to it, I just got it for the oddity. I have another With the Beatles, but this one's in pretty rough shape. Now, we're done with the Beatles. Move on to A Hard Day's Night. This one's a 70s reissue. Stereo. And we have a mono reissue. This one is a Japanese red vinyl. Mono. Paid how much? $85 for it. It's quite a bit of money for a single disc, but I did it. Anyway, then we have a German A Hard Day's Night. Excuse me, yeah, A Hard Day's Night album. I like when the covers are different, so I always try to pick up different covers. Like this Italian... No, excuse me, I lied. French version of Hard Day's Night. Four Grandsons dans le vent. I probably butchered that. Les Beatles. It translates to Four Boys in the Wind, which makes, like, no sense, but it's a cool record to own. It's the different cover. And just the remaster. I don't really bother putting them in plastic even, because, I mean, they're still making them, I think. If not, they're still super common. But then we have Beatles for sale. Stereo. And it's just saying it's kind of random how my collection forms with, like, certain albums getting more attention than others. It's not intentional, it just happens. We have Beatles for sale again. This one's mono remaster. I'm very lucky to have gotten any of those mono remasters. Now they go for a lot. Got Beatles for sale from Russia. With love. But so there's Beatles for sale. Let me just... There we go. Got... This one is an original UK pressing of Help. From 1965. Yellow and black parlophone. Got Help again, but this time from Germany. Slightly different album cover. Horzu label. We got Help from Russia now. Got a lot of copies of Help. It's like weird. It's like some albums I have like 1 or 2 copies. Others I have like 50. Got Help again. This one's from Japan. From the 90s. No, it's 2000s. Wow. So I honestly don't know what version it is. It's probably the same one as the 80s CD, but I'm not sure. Anyway, you got Help picture disc with the Shell logo. I like picture discs. They don't sound the best, but I always thought they look cool. Got Remaster Help. If you notice, the tint is different than, the colors are different than the CD of the same remaster, which I like the record colors more. And last Help, I believe. Yeah, last copy of Help. It's, Italian Aiuto, but it's not an original. It is a bootleg on red vinyl, which I got because color pretty. 1 second, let me move this stuff so I can keep piling them on there. Okay, so things have been scooted over. We'll move on to Rubber Soul. This one is the mono remaster of the album. Then we have Stereo. This one is a 70s Japanese pressing. Missing the Obi, though. One of my prized possession, Beatle record-wise, at least, which pretty much is one of my most prized possessions, is this copy of Revolver, because it is an original 1966 mono pressing. Unfortunately, it is not the one with the recalled mix, but still cool. And speaking of cool, is Revolver, because Revolver is a cool album. This one is British pressing from the 70s. And we have this big boy here. Yeah. Is the Revolver box set. It's giant. It's so heavy, too. Sorry. Yeah. It's huge and heavy, but it's so amazing. There. Moved it. Then we have another copy of Revolver. This one, if I recall correctly, is from Venezuela and is on an orange and yellow Parlophone label, which is pretty cool. And maybe it's an export because it says made in Venezuela, so I don't know. I got it for pretty cheap too. Then we have Revolver. This is a French pressing from the 70s. That version is missing the count-in on Taxman, which is pretty interesting. We have an Israeli pressing of Revolver. This one I got for really cheap, if not free, because it's pretty beat up. It's on Apple. And we have the mono remaster of Revolver. So I have 3 mono Revolvers. The one in the box set, the mono remaster. Actually, I have 4 mono Revolvers. I have the remaster from 2014, the remaster from 2022, and an original, and then the next one after this, because this is just the stereo remaster. And we have this mono bootleg Revolver I got in England, but I got it because it is blue, and I don't think it's coming out on the camera, but it's sparkly. Kind of see a little. Now we have later half of the Beatles' career. We have Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. This is the mono remaster. My bird has tried eating it. Luckily, it's protected in plastic. I have a bird. We have remaster stereo. And we have 50th Anniversary Edition from 2017, the double LP one. I don't know if they came out with a single LP for that one. I know the others they did. I don't know about that one. We have, everything's falling. Then we have, for real, we have 67 US mono. Then we have original 1967 US stereo. Fuck. We have the 2017 picture disc and the 1970s picture disc. I have a lot of Sgt. Pepper albums, and there's still more to go. We have 1969 Sgt. Pepper US. All of these are US now, unless I say otherwise. And we got 80s reissue, if I recall correctly at least. We have Russian issue with Revolver on the other side. You could kind of see it a little. And then another original US mono, but it's in bad shape this time. Like really bad shape. Right, now we have Magical Mystery Tour. We have original 1967 mono, which is pretty hard to find now. Let's make a new pile over here. They're all going to fall over. We have the German pressing of Magical Mystery Tour with the true stereo remix or mix or whatever. And we have 71, not 71, 70 something. Oh, actually it is 71, wow. 71 US Apple. Then we have another of the exact same pressing. It's got some stickers on it. It was free. I think the first one was free too. And then another 67 mono US, but it's in horrible condition. But it's still cool. Then we have the Beatles White Album remaster. Then we have a 70s pressing from Germany. It might not look like it, but it is numbered. It's hard to tell there. You can see it. 819991, I believe. It's hard to read. There's my German White Album. Then we have Mono Remaster White Album, number 9065335. That one's easy to read. And then the last one for shelf 1 is the White Album 50th Anniversary 4LP box set with the Escher demos. So that is all for the first shelf. See you in a second with the second shelf. Okay, now we're on shelf 2. We have the White Album again. We're finishing with the White Album soon. We have the White Album here. It's an original US copy. It's numbered A2071159. Trying to escape. There we go. And we have White Album picture disc. Each side is a different picture. Side 1's John, side 2 Paul, 3 George, 4 Ringo. Right, we have Yellow Submarine, US pressing. Then we have Yellow Submarine, French pressing. Yeah, French pressing. I believe it's an original. And the US ones are original, so I'm not going to mention that. We have Magical Mystery Tour, plus Yellow Submarine, Russian edition. Now we move on to Let It Be. I don't know how that happened to the sleeve. The plastic, I mean, but there's Let It Be. Let It Be box set, which is super big and heavy. Okay, I moved it over there. Then we have another copy of Let It Be. Red Apple, again. Start putting over here. I'll put them back there, actually. Just make a little note. Self. And another copy of Let It Be. We got Abbey Road. This one is the first version of the cover and label, so it does not say Her Majesty on the label or the cover. And here's version 2, which has Her Majesty on the label but not the cover. And then version 3, which has Her Majesty on the cover and the label. Then we have Abbey Road, Japanese pressing from the 70s. And all the U.S. Abbey Road albums I was showing with the different cover and label variations are American. I mean, are originals, my mistake. We have 50th Anniversary Edition. Okay, now with that out of the way, I have Beatles Past Masters. Oops. Oh. And we have Stuck. There we go. We have Mono Masters. From, I don't remember when that came out. 2014, I think. I don't remember. Anyway, we have Beatles Christmas album. This is a counterfeit on green vinyl. Originals are very hard to get and are very expensive, so I don't have one, at least not yet. Then we have the US albums with Introducing the Beatles. 1964, I believe. That's version 2 of the album. We have Meet the Beatles. Original 1964. And we have a 1980s Canadian pressing on the purple label. And we have a 1980s US pressing. That's a promo. You can see there. Label. Last one for this pile is a US Meet the Beatles original from my late uncle. We have Beatles' second album, original US mono. I'm not gonna bother saying US because they're all American albums. Got a 70s orange label, reissue. We have, what's this one? Another 64, Introducing the Beatles from my late uncle. Got 1964 mono, A Hard Day's Night. And we have a 1964 stereo, A Hard Day's Night. We have a 70s Capitol pressing. I mean, not Capitol, 70s United Artists pressing. And we have an 80s Capitol Records stereo repress. There, it's a promotional as well, rainbow label. Another last one from my late uncle, Hard Day's Night. Mono. We got Something New. Original 64 mono. Then I have a 80s reissue. Not 80s. I think it's 70s. It's 70s, 80s. I don't remember. Around that time. Then we have an original 1964 Canadian pressing. I actually picked this one up in Canada. It's got the original company sleeve too. Then I have a later 80s pressing on Capitol. I saw a Korean pressing of the album, but I didn't pick it up. I'm I'm a low-key kicking myself for not getting it. Anyway, Beatles Something New Again. This one's a German press. We got The Beatles Story. Sadly, not an original. I do plan on picking up an original mono pressing eventually. So you have all of them in mono and stereo. Got Beatles 65, original 1964 mono. Then a late 70s, early 80s stereo reissue, purple capital. It's in the shrink wrap. Got another original 64, but this one's just in pretty rough shape. Unlike the other one, which is in good shape. Then we have the early Beatles. I only have this like 70s, 80s Canadian press. I really need to get an original mono, but they are so hard to find for that album. I don't know why. Like Beatles 6, original 1965 mono. I mean, wait, did I put that one in the wrong spot? No, I just have another mono copy here. That should really be behind the stereo 80s reissue, which is, again, you could see is in shrink wrap. Just put it where it should go. There we go. Now on to Help, a US version, obviously. You have original 1965 mono. You have original 1965 stereo. Canadian pressing from, I think, the 80s. 70s, 80s. And also, if you notice that it's pink, the original motion picture soundtrack thing is pink. And they have a Mexican pressing. I don't even like the US version of Help that much. I just acquired them. And a 70s Apple pressing. Then we have 1965 original mono Rubber Soul. Then we have an original 65 or 66 pressing. Excuse me. But it was in a mono cover, so I made my own custom album cover. I thought it would be cool. Then we have another mono Rubber Soul. This one I think is a 66 pressing. Yeah, it's a 66 pressing. The difference is 65 pressings do not say the Beatles and just say their names. 66 pressings, they put the Beatles. And you have 70s stereo. Orange label. I should probably put in a better sleeve, but whatever. And we have Yesterday and Today. Original 1966 mono. It is a trunk cover, though. Not a butcher cover underneath the trunk cover. You have a picture disc of Yesterday and Today. Yesterday and Today is my favorite US album, and Abbey Road's my favorite studio album. This is the first record I ever bought, which is the Beatles' Yesterday and Today. It's a 1968 reissue. Castle. Last one from this shelf is my last copy of Yesterday and Today. It is a Mexican pressing from the 70s. It's cool because it's got a different back cover. So anyway, now on to the third shelf. Now on shelf 3, we have the Beatles Revolver, US version. This is an original mono 66, but it has a skip on Yellow Submarine. We have this copy of Revolver. This is 70s, 80s Canadian press. The cover is on the wall because it is autographed by Klaus Voormann. I might show that in a future video. We have the Beatles again. album, also known as Hey Jude. See, this label says The Beatles Again. Then we have a later issue of the same album. This time it is on orange capital and says Hey Jude, and I believe, yeah, this one's in the shrink wrap too. Then we move on to random stuff from other countries. We have The Beatles, a collection of Beatle oldies. This is a 70s UK press. Then we have a 70s German press of the same album. I believe it's 70s. Then we have oddities from America. It's Jolly What, the Beatles and Frank Ifield. It is not on stage like the cover says. It is not. Then we have, I almost said introducing the Beatles, songs, pictures, and stories of the fabulous Beatles. This one has writing on the inside, but it's the record and the cover are very nice condition. There we go. Then we have another copy. This one's in much rougher condition than the previous one. And last American one is Hear the Beatles Tell All album. Got now from Australia, The Essential Beatles, which is a compilation from I think the 70s. It's a pretty cool album. Then we have Canadian exclusives with Twist and Shout. There. And Long Tall Sally. Neither of them are originals. Both are 70s reissues. Then we have Germany with the Beatles Beat. Then I have a counterfeit copy of the Beatles Beat with the Record Club cover. There's the back, the label, I mean. It's a fake pressing, but it's still cool. Then we have Beatles Greatest. I believe this one is an original 65, but it could be an early 60s, 66, I mean, reissue. An early reissue from the 60s, and whatever. And we have another copy of the Beatles Greatest, but this one's a 70s reissue. Then we have from East Germany, the Beatles. It's just called the Beatles, but it's not the White Album. It's a weird compilation. And we have from Russia, Hey Jude. This is not the same as the American Hey Jude. It's got a different track list. See? It's a little different. One's got We Can Work It Out in Day Tripper, so it makes it better in my opinion. And now we have compilation albums. This is I believe, the first ever Beatles compilation. It is not official, but it's still worth mentioning. It's the Beatles Greatest Hits album. Notice how it does not say the Beatles anywhere on the cover for copyright reasons. Then we have the Red Album. This is a red vinyl reissue. I love the colored vinyl records. Then we have an original pressing. This one has the Apple logo on the back. And then I have a slightly later 70s pressing with the Capitol logo on the back. I have the Beatles Blue album. I unfortunately only have this one copy of it, but it is French and on the blue vinyl. See, it says blue vinyl in French. Then we have Rock and Roll Music album. It's a glossy, shiny cover. I hate the cover so much. I'm gonna make a whole video about how much I hate it. And then we have my favorite compilation by the Beatles. This one is on a cool textured cover and everything. And it's amazing packaging. It's just perfect. The Beatles love songs. Then we have Rarities. This is the European version of Rarities. This is like a predecessor to what's it called? Past Masters. Then we have the US Rarities, which I love this version of the album. It has actual rarities along with some not-so-rarities now. Some of the stuff on that is still not available on streaming. Anyway, Beatle Ballads. I think these are a little out of order. I'm not sure. That one I don't think came out in America, and if it did, it was for export. I don't know. Could be talking out of my ass. But we have the Beatles' Real Music album. And this next one is a rare album. Only $17. It is the Beatles' Real Music with the hype sticker in the shrink wrap and on yellowish gold vinyl. I'm so thankful to have found it, especially for like $17. Usually it goes for like 70. And we have the predecessor to 20 Greatest Hits. And then last compilation I have is 1. This is the original version. I want to get the 2015 version. I also want to get an original Blue album and the Red and Blue album remasters. We have other stuff. We have Love album. Cirque du Soleil Love remix album. I don't really consider it like a normal compilation because of its remix. And then we have the Beatles Anthology 2. Running out of space to put all these. Beatles Anthology 2. And we have Beatles Anthology 3. I'm missing Anthology 1, as you could probably tell. But that's on my must-have, must-buy list. Along with Yellow Submarine Songtrack. You have Live at the BBC Volume 1. I need to get more nice sleeves and put the anthologies and the BBCs in those. You have Live at the Hollywood Bowl. This is the remaster one. Remaster remix one. We have Live at the Hollywood Bowl. Purposely not putting in frame. It is signed by Bob Eubanks, but it's got some stuff I don't want to. Then we have another copy. This one's pretty rough shape. I want to get a nice clean copy with a clean cover. It's not have stuff written. Then we move into Beatles and Tony Sheridan stuff with the Beatles with Tony Sheridan Guests album from MGM. These I put in release order because there's so many Beatles and Tony Sheridan releases. We have, this is the Savage Young Beatles album on Savage Records. I can't remember if that one's like a straight up unofficial release or if it's like a gray market. I hate the Beatles Very Together, and I believe it's from Canada, and it's on Polydor. I think. And we have another Beatles and Tony Sheridan. This one is Polydor, in the beginning, circa 1960. This one's pretty good, and it's only $3. Pretty good source for the recordings. Have this one, which is interesting because side 1 is with Tony Sheridan and side 2 is the Star Club stuff. And speaking of Star Club stuff, we move on to the Star Club stuff. We have Live at the Star Club in Hamburg, Germany, 62. I don't remember which version this one is. I think it's the European version. And then we have the Early Years, Volume 1. And the alarmingly similar Early Years 2. See, the only difference in cover is that this text is blue and the volume 1 is red. And we have bootlegs now. Got the Beatles, pop group from Liverpool visiting Stockholm. What a title. Well, it technically is even longer than that. Single-sided. Then we have this one, the Beatles Broadcasting Corporation. I kept all the hype stickers on it, even this annoying one. It's got Jukebox Jury on one side, and it's the Beatles TV concert on the other side, and the record is, I'm going to show it, dark blue. Very pretty looking disc. Then we have the Beatles. I think this one's called Back in '64 at the Hollywood Bowl. It says on the spine. Get Back in '64 at the Hollywood Bowl. The labels aren't really anything to write home about. These ones I'm not going to bother showing the labels because they're just solid colors. We got Vancouver '64. This one's a double LP with 2 sources for the concert, which is pretty cool. And we have Live from Sam Houston Coliseum. This one is 2 full concerts from Sam Houston Coliseum. You could probably guess from the title. Then we have Live at Last. This one's red, recent bootleg. Not really that interesting, but I got it anyway. We have Beatles at the Beeb, Volume 3. Beatles at the Beeb 7. And then these ones don't have labels. It's Beeb 10. And I think this next one's the last Beeb one. Yeah. Beeb 11. They're really cool covers on those ones. And we have Broadcast, which is pretty much like the Live at the BBC album, but less songs. And we got Beautiful Dreamer album. Some BBC stuff. And then we move into like studio stuff. Well, this is technically home demos, but Quarrymen at Home bootleg album. Then we have the recent Decca Tapes one. Came with the CD and Obi, but I lost both, I think. Both are lost. Anyway, last album on the shelf is the Beatles for Auction on Sabcore. I really want to get the complete series of bootlegs from this label, but that's the only one I have so far. Anyway, on to shelf 4 in a minute. Okay, and now on the last shelf, we have the rest of the bootlegs and, what's it called? Interview discs. Got the Beatles Black album. There. Then we have Sweet Apple Tracks. That one doesn't really have labels. Got Hot as Sun, which is literally the same thing as the previous one I showed. Then we have Hot as Sun, which is literally the same as Sweet Apple Tracks. We got Sweet Apple Tracks 2. I don't know what this is. Oh, it's picture disc of some of Sweet Apple Tracks, which is in and of itself some of the Black Album. Well, actually, the Black Album came later, so it's like, whatever. Then we have Bye Bye Love. Got the Beatles Come Back. Then we have Get Back album. This one is a different mix than the new release of it, and this one's green, so that makes it better. We have Get Back to Toronto. Then another one with no label coming up next. We have the Abbey Road one. What's it called? Number 3, Abbey Road, NW8. Then we have Rock Band Remixes from 2009. Got some, now we have like career-spanning bootlegs. We have Not For Sale album. This one's pretty much iconic. It's like the most famous bootleg, probably. Then we have File Under Beatles. This one's an earlier one. It's in the shrink wrap. There's another version with that's like in a manila folder that I really want to get. Anyway, we have Beatles Sessions album. It's on a fake Odeon label, which makes it look official. I want to get the other Sessions album with the other cover. We got Ultra Rare Tracks 1 and 2. Then I'm missing 3 and 4, but I have Ultra Rare Tracks 5 and 6. Really want to get my hands on 3 and 4. Speaking of 4, we have Beatles 20 by 4. White empty label. We got, I'm gonna rush through this, but we got Beatles Rough Notes. No label. The Beatles Buried Treasure. Almost no label. Wonderland. This guy doesn't want to come up. We got Recovered Tracks from Apollo Records. And we got LS Bumblebee. Early bootlegs still in the shrink, which is pretty cool. Then we have 58 to 62. This is a modern bootleg. Got 20 Hits, The Beatles, which is, I think, gray market. It's got, like, live, and it's a bunch of weird stuff. I think it's Tony Sheridan and Decca. Then we have these crummy reissues of Ultra Rare Tracks Volume 4 and Volume 5. One of them is white vinyl, but I forget which. Then we have interviews with the Beatles tapes, which I haven't listened to yet. And we have Beatles Talk Down Under in shrink wrap. Forgot to show the label on Beatle tapes, but whatever. My phone's dying. Got West Coast Invasion interview album. Got Press Conferences 64 to 66, which is a picture disc. Another picture disc with Larry Kane's Ticket to Ride, which is a more recent album. And last but not least, Timeless 2. That's it. That's all the albums. And then I'll show the singles. And anyway, see you in a sec for singles. And now on to the singles. We have the Beatles, She Loves You, backed with I'll Get You. This is the US release order, so that's why Love Me Do isn't first. Oops. Then we have another She Loves You, I'll Get You. Both originals, but the label's a little different. Oops. I'll cut that out. And we have I Want to Hold Your Hand. I Saw Her Standing There. We got, My Bonnie, The Saints. Got, Please Please Me, From Me to You. Then we have another one with a different label. Love Me Do with P.S. I Love You. The picture sleeve. Twist and Shout. There's a Place on Tolly with purple text. Can't Buy Me Love. You Can't Do That. Got, next we have Do You Want to Know a Secret? And Thank You Girl. Then we have another copy. This one's with the rainbow label. It's both originals, just different labels. Label variant. Got Siliptic. I made a custom picture sleeve. Let me show you the label. Get the record out. There we go. It's on Swan. Like She Loves You. Oops. There we go. Then we have Ain't She Sweet with The Saints, I think. No, it's Nobody's Child, my mistake. Got A Hard Day's Night. I Should Have Known Better. I'll Cry Instead. I'm Happy Just to Dance with You. And I Love Her. If I Fell. Another copy. Both are original 60s pressings. I have 70s pressings of singles, but those are elsewhere and I'll show them when I get to them. Slow Down. Matchbox. I Feel Fine. She's a Woman. And the only EP in this, because I put it with the American singles, not with the other EPs, we have 4 by the Beatles with Honey Don't, I'm a Loser, Mr. Moonlight, and Everybody's Trying to Be My Baby. Got 8 Days a Week. I Don't Want to Spoil the Party. Ticket to Ride. Yes, it is. Can hear my bird. Help. I'm Down. I need to get a better copy of the single because it has tape on it. Got Yesterday and Act Naturally. We Can Work It Out. Day Tripper. Nowhere Man. And What Goes On. Paperback Writer. Rain. We have another copy. This one doesn't have the picture sleeve. It's, I believe, a different variant. Yellow Submarine. Eleanor Rigby. These are all the original singles. Strawberry Fields Forever, Penny Lane. This one is with the corrected label. And then we have another one. This one is with the incorrect label. All You Need Is Love. Baby, You're a Rich Man. Hello, Goodbye. I Am the Walrus. Lady Madonna, The Inner Light. Hey Jude. Revolution. This one I thought was an original, but it's actually a 70s reissue. It's Get Back and Don't Let Me Down. I'm gonna have to find an original pressing of that one. The Ballad of John and Yoko, Old Brown Shoe. Something, Come Together. Let It Be. You Know My Name, Look Up the Number. The Long and Winding Road and For You Blue. It's the end of the original run of Beatles singles. You have Free as a Bird with Christmas Time Is Here Again. Real Love and Babies in Black. Then we have foreign singles with She Loves You. We'll start with the British with She Loves You and I'll Get You. Them over here instead. I don't want to risk everything falling. Can't Buy Me Love. You Can't Do That. And these are the original British singles. I have the reissue somewhere else. I Want to Hold Your Hand. This Boy. I Feel Fine. She's a Woman, We Can Work It Out, Day Tripper. Last UK one is Eleanor Rigby and Yellow Submarine. Then we move on to other countries. This one's from Brazil. It's Get Back and Don't Let Me Down. Then we have Canada, Love Me Do, and P.S. I Love You. The blah was from my pronunciation, not for the country of Canada. We have From Me to You, Thank You Girl, Roll Over Beethoven, Please Mr. Postman, Twist and Shout, There's a Place, I'll Cry Instead, I'm Happy Just to Dance With You. Last Canadian one is Kansas City, Boys. And we have France, we have And I Love Her, If I Fell, at the 70s one, but I don't know if it was released earlier. Anyway, we got other one from France. We have the Hey Jude, Revolution. It's an original 68. We have Germany, I Want to Hold Your Hand, Roll Over Beethoven, Misery, Ask Me Why, and Day Tripper, We Can Work It Out. We have from Japan, Act Naturally, and Yesterday. This is an Apple reissue. This one I believe is an original. It's Hello Goodbye and I Am the Walrus. From the Netherlands, another Hello Goodbye, I Am the Walrus. Then we have Come Together and Something from Mexico. Now we have the 70s Beatles singles with Got to Get You Into My Life, Helter Skelter, Obla Di Obla Da, Julia. This one is numbered 198031. We have not Real Music, that's the album. We have Movie Medley. This is a promo with Fab 4 on film. It was replaced on the final copy with a different song, and I'll Cry Instead, I think. Then we have this flexi disc of what's on it? I can't remember. Wild Honey Pie, I think. No, it's Why Don't We Do It in the Road and Rocky Raccoon. It's from the 70s. Then we have some colored vinyl jukebox singles. We have Birthday and Taxman, which is green. We have Magical Mystery Tour, Fool on the Hill, which is yellow. We got last regular single. We have Twist and Shout. This is a promo, so that's why it's in the other ones and not with the reissues. And last but definitely not least, is a postcard record from Poland with Drive My Car on it. Move this so you can see better. So that is the singles, and we'll move on to EPs and other singles in a second. We're getting very near the end. We have How Do You Do It, back with Revolution. This one is a fan club single and is on see-through vinyl. Got EPs now. Twist and Shout EP. Beatles Hits EP. I'm not going to keep saying EP because it's obvious. Now, All My Loving. Long Tall Sally. All of them are reissues except, I think, just this one. It's extracts from the film A Hard Day's Night. We've got extracts from the album A Hard Day's Night. Beatles for Sale. So you scratch that. I think this one's also an original. It's Yesterday, but it's not a British press. I think it's an Australian press, but I'm not sure. The BB It's You Live at the BBC EP. We got the Revolver 50th Anniversary Box Set EP, which is paperback, Writer and Rain on both sides. Got requests. These are Australian EPs. More requests. And Penny Lane. All those are EPs. Got French EPs. We have Yellow Submarine and Strawberry Fields Forever. Japan EPs. We have Anna. Oh, the French EPs are originals, by the way. And then we have Paperback Writer. Mexican EPs now. We have Yesterday and Michelle. Now we have picture discs. We have Please Please Me. Ask Me Why. From Me to You. Thank You Girl, I believe. Yellow Submarine, Eleanor Rigby for the 50th anniversary. Hey Jude, Revolution. Have Pantomime Everywhere It's Christmas, fan club Christmas record. Now we have some reissue singles. We have Yellow Submarine, Eleanor Rigby. Ballad of John and Yoko, Old Brown Shoe. Love Me Do, P.S. I Love You. Twist and Shout, There's a Place. Hard Day's Night. I Should Have Known Better. This one's cool. It's a misprint. We have Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane. The label's all messed up, so no text on it. Obla di Obla da. Julia. Actually, that should be later. These are a bit messed up. Sorry. And I Love Her. If I Fell. Matchbox, Slow Down. I Feel Fine. She's a Woman. 8 Days a Week. I Don't Want to Spoil the Party. We got last one, Help. And I'm Down, Capital Starline reissue. And then these two. I'm still not done yet. I have a couple box sets, and then it's done. Okay, so last but not least, we have the single box sets. We have the singles collection from the 70s. The 2010s, we have this 4-single box set. It's numbered. There's the number. And last but not least, for the entire collection, we have the Happy Christmas Beatles People box set. So, that's my Beatles collection. Hope you enjoyed. Peace and love. Goodbye.